Dude, let's go bowling. All right, we're live. we are
Baker, the baby maker.
We are live AF. Welcome everybody to a Wednesday edition of the Slate. Gorgeous golf gurus are on your screen. Jeff Volrick, Reed T. Fowler, Emerson Latzia, producer Eamon behind the scenes, AC on the ones and twos. Okay. What do we got going? So we'll talk Scottish Open. That's basically, we could talk some British Open too. And one thing we learned this morning on the show is the Scottish Open is going down in Scotland. And but news, coming down just an hour or so ago, Baker Mayfield, boys. Baker Mayfield has a new home. He has been traded for a conditional selection, I think in the 5th round. Yeah, he's going to the Panthers, and that's going to be week 1. That's actually, I can't believe we're yeah, right. Who knew we were going to be talking so much about the Browns and the Panthers in a week 1?
The turntables.
I don't know. Like the first thing I was thinking of, how would this like impact the odds? And then I saw Jeff. It really wasn't much. I think they were like prior to the Mayfield trade, they were plus 1,200 the Panthers to win the NFC South. Now plus 1,000. So I think I know. I know. Like what'd you think? Like immediately when you saw the news come across that Baker was traded to the Panthers, I was thinking, oh man, that means Seattle's locked in with Drew Lock.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think Baker Mayfield is a better quarterback than Sam Darnold, but I also don't think that like we should be, the gap probably isn't that big. Like Sam Darnold has played for the Jets and the Panthers during his career. Baker Mayfield has looked good in spots playing behind like a really, really good run game and on a good team in the Browns and only in spots. So what is he going to look like now on a team like the Panthers that, like you just said, is plus 1,000 to win their division? It's going to be interesting to see here. You know, like I'm not exactly, I'm not super optimistic here.
You're not chomping at the bit?
No, I'm not chomping at the bit to like, throw all my late round shares into Baker Mayfield. So
Coward.
I think the bigger thing is, I mean, the Panthers are just trying to patch a hole. They're like the boy in the dike. They're just trying to like plug all the leaks here. And if it's just going to break. Like they have traded away 6 picks to get a QB room of Mayfield and Darnold.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? All you have to do is take Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand this franchise. It's just, I don't understand what they've done the last 2 years. It's so mind-bottlingly weird. Like,
well, it's the Spider-Man
like
meme.
Baker Mayfield is fine. Sure, I agree. He's an upgrade over Darnold, but like, there's not much to this move. I think he will help DJ Moore. Let's talk about it from fantasy and just be positive from that.
Let's do it.
It's a good move for DJ Moore. DJ Moore, really good, like air yards, all that type of guy, good upside. I think it benefits him. But again, like don't get carried away. I don't know really how much of an upgrade this is.
It's
over
a
Darnold.
slight bump, right? Slight bump up Reed from Darnold. Like in quarterback play for DJ Moore. Like who was there? I mean, Robbie Anderson, Terrace Marshall.
Yeah, I mean, those names are nice, but it would have been nice if number 3 from Seattle was coming over and those, bumping up those names. Like, what didn't we like about Darnold? He was inaccurate. He was turning the ball over. He wasn't smart with it on key down and distances. Well, what is Baker Mayfield but a more expensive, only by a couple of picks? Because wasn't Darnold the 3rd overall pick in the same draft, or was it?
I think it was 2nd. Was he 2nd?
Okay, yeah. Like, Baker was Baker the same year? Or no,
I think they were. Yeah, he wasn't
he?
No,
2018, I think was Baker.
Yeah, so like the draft capital is pretty much the same on these guys, but like I was mentioning when Jeff was talking, it's like the Spider-Man meme for both the quarterback and the organizations. The Browns are notorious for being what are you guys doing with your draft picks, with your offseason, with anything. And now Carolina, David Tepper has so much money. So this might just be like I'm just going to keep on doing this to get butts in the seats, so to speak. But Christian McCaffrey, you would argue that he's probably going to be someone that you want to target because Baker Mayfield can't throw the ball downfield because he had OBJ and did nothing with him. So I'm scared about I'm scared about DJ Moore. If DJ Moore became Deebo Samuel, that would be fantastic because he has a body type. He has the skill set to be someone like Deebo Samuel was last year. That has nothing to do with Baker Mayfield. What Baker Mayfield does is, I think in his mind, he thinks he's a good quarterback, right? And like that scares me from a receiver standpoint of how is this going to work out when they start losing games. And
it's a really good point that Reed has made here, because when has Baker Mayfield ever supported a true wide receiver one in his career?
I mean, he's had a bunch.
No,
He hasn't. It's usually been the slot wide receiver who benefits the most, which is why Jarvis Landry was amongst some of the best in a couple of seasons under Baker Mayfield.
Well, Baker Mayfield's rookie year, was Josh Gordon there, or no? Was that way past?
I don't know, man. Josh Gordon's been suspended 8 times.
That's right. Okay, that's why I'm like, I can't remember when Josh Gordon had that unbelievable year. Was that like 2013 or whatever, or 14? Yeah, so Baker would have been way past.
Because for Jeff Landry, I'm looking at some numbers here. He finished with 2 1,000+ yard seasons, 2018 and 2019 with Mayfield under center. So that's why some are already saying over on Twitter, the experts, Terrace Marshall Jr. could see the biggest bump.
Terrace Marshall Jr. I mean, sure. I guess. I don't know. We're going to the wide receiver 3 now in Carolina. I mean, how deep are you really going to go on this team? I mean, for me, it's Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, and Robbie Anderson. If you're in an 18-round best ball league, I'll definitely taking him as a flyer. I could see him having a bit of a bounce back. He did work out of the slot a lot. He has worked out of the slot a lot for Matt Rule. So I think Robbie Anderson is another player there who maybe just gets a slight bump from this, but I'm worried about DJ Moore with this, really. DJ Moore actually had a pretty solid season with Sam Darnold last year, but again, we come back to this. Baker has really been more the dink or dunk guy. He has not been good at throwing downfield. He had an elite wide receiver one in OBJ for multiple years. Nothing happened there. So it worries me a little bit. I mean, that this could actually be worse for DJ Moore than it could be an upgrade. Even if Baker is slightly better at just quarterbacking in general than Darnold, because Darnold is quite frankly terrible. So there's multiple things to worry about here. Darnold may actually be the better fantasy option for DJ Moore in the long run. I don't know. It's kind of yet to be seen. I just think that it's kind of a semi-neutral move for most of these guys. I think Robbie Anderson will benefit a little bit from it. I think DJ Moore may even just get a slight downgrade from it.
Okay, let's not forget Sam Darnold. He got off to that strong start in Carolina last season, had 3 300-yard games in his first 4 with the Panthers. That was before everything kind of just the roof caved in on him. I also believe, I think the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season, if I remember correctly, he was the leading rushing touchdown getter in the NFL.
Yeah, he rushed for 6 touchdowns.
5 or 6,
Yeah, I don't know. So I mean, and also Mayfield was banged up last year a little bit. So if he comes in, he's healthy. It was his shoulder too, right?
Well, a couple of things. One, Baker Mayfield, who was efficient, quote unquote, in Cleveland with Baker? It was Jarvis Landry, and it was the running backs.
Yeah,
right. That's the style that I think fits. If Matt Rule is smart, which jury is still out.
Yes,
he would feature that as let's get Christian McCaffrey the ball 400 times and run him into the ground because we're paying him all this money, and let's get someone the dink or dunk. I mean, that's who you want to target. So maybe that's Terrace Marshall, but Jarvis Landry, a solid, Jarvis Landry has one of the best route runners and one of the best hands in the NFL. Terrace Marshall has a long way to go to become someone like Jarvis Landry. So. What, 550 and a touch is a good game for Terrace Marshall?
I think Reed's right. I think if this benefits anyone the most, is probably McCaffrey. Yeah. If he stays on the field, he might see he might lead the league in targets. Honestly, I mean, that's kind of what Mayfield's MO is just to work those short passes. So, and he's been pretty good at it when you give him a clean pocket. Let's give him a little bit of credit. Like I said, I do think he's a better quarterback than Sam Darnold from an NFL perspective, but from fantasy for big players, I don't know, man.
It's Terrace Marshall Jr. season, dude.
I think it's actually Robbie Anderson season. I know the one thing I don't think it is, and I don't think it's DJ Moore season, unfortunately.
Okay, you need the yak.
Wait, are they?
Catch.
I have not. Have you guys seen this? Are they paying Mayfield's like full contract this year?
It's split. They're
It's
splitting.
split.
They're
Okay.
splitting the financials. Yeah.
Okay, so this is interesting then because so Mayfield on the DK Sportsbook minus 1,200 be the starting quarterback, but Sam Darnold plus 500, and like they have a huge investment in him. I didn't realize that they're going to be paying Darnold nearly $19 million this season after picking up his 5th-year option. So
the situation just gets.
I know I'm just
like how do you?
It's just like, I don't know, maybe it's a bet worth considering. I don't know. You have $10 or whatever, throw it on Sam Darnold to be the starting quarterback. We don't have to talk much anymore about this. We really don't, unless you guys have anything else, because like the Scottish Open is going to be teeing off here in like 2 hours.
I mean, the Panthers really don't deserve to be talked about. It's a situation that I just don't know how they got there. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
like they had a top 10 pick in like the deepest quarterback draft we've seen in like, like 20 years, and they don't end up with a quarterback, and they have Sam Darnold.
Then they traded up for was that the Corral guy out of was that Ole Miss?
Matt Corral, who they also
Who
used
did
to
they end up taking
with
with their top pick?
Nobody knows, man.
What's that?
Who do they end up taking with their top pick, or do they trade out of it?
Oh, in the quarterback year, they took a defensive player. Oh my God, yeah, they took like a corner or something.
Here we go. Hold on, guys. I'm coming. Right. I pulled it up. I'm on top of it.
I can't even remember.
Oh no. 6 overall. Ikwanu. That was the tackle out of NC State.
That's right.
That was the first
this
round.
year. I was talking about the year before.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was talking about this year. we're on different pages. They didn't have a second round pick this year, and then they made moves to get Matt Corral.
I mean, this like Jeff was saying, last year would have been the move, right? When you had 4,
Oh, they took Derek Brown, the defensive tackle.
That's right.
Yeah, dude, that's what I said.
Who was like a kind of a project. So great. Like again,
maybe they're waiting. Maybe they're waiting for this year, right?
Oh no, that was the Herbert year. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Anyways, just
dude, what's going on with you, man?
I mean, this is the whole point. Like, this is the whole point of Carolina, right? Is that you don't have to win the draft by picking a quarterback. We know that first round picks usually, especially if the quarterbacks, are a project, right? They usually don't hit unless, right, you get someone like a Justin Herbert, you get someone like hopefully Trey Lance, Fields, they take a step up this year. You get someone like a Lamar Jackson that can buoy your organization for 4 years, right after their rookie season. You're getting them the rookie contract. Like you don't have to quarterback, but like if you're anywhere near needing one, you better take one in the first round.
JC Horn, they took defensive back.
That's right.
Fields went 11th to Chicago. Mac Jones went 15th to the Patriots. Those are the guys they didn't even have to trade up to get. Those are 2 guys.
Horn is not bad.
I mean, they're going to be bad. No matter what, they're going to be bad. Their win total is at 6.5.
But
and Rule's going to be out. And then next year, they're going to bring in a new coach who's going to want his own quarterback.
To Reed's point, they could have a guy on a rookie deal. They could have all that draft capital, and they could be so much further along. It makes no sense what they've done. We've talked about this way too much.
Yeah, and it probably would have made more sense, right, of taking an offensive lineman this year.
Sure.
To protect your franchise, not to protect. You still
got. Now they don't have a franchise. They probably hope Darnold gets hurt so they can like stash him on long term or something.
Yeah, I think they get a 4th condition or a 5th conditional 4th if there's playing time. So I don't know. Maybe they find gold next year.
All right. That's enough Panthers talk until like week 1 when we talk about the revenge tour of Baker Mayfield. Let's go to Scotland.
We're talking about the Browns DST that week.
Let's go to Scotland, dude. Home of William Wallace. All right, Scottish Open. Looking at dude, I'm excited for this one, Reed T. Fowler. I'm excited for it because there's like 14 to 15 guys tops in the world. It looks like a great tournament. And just a heads up to everybody, like lineups are going to lock, since it's over there, 2:15 a.m. 2:15 a.m. Eastern time. So just a heads up for everybody. What are your thoughts on this one, Reed?
From just a course perspective, like
yeah, I kind of want to like course and strategy before we can get into like some specific like picks. Like, is there anything we should know? Are there any like, statistical categories that you think we should really be looking at for some of these guys?
Yeah, I think when you're looking at stats, especially on the link style, you want to focus on guys who play well on link style courses, especially near the water, especially in windy conditions. Right, that kind of bleeds into more of the quantitative, which is tee to green is probably the biggest correlation of success. I think the guys here, and it's been at the Renaissance Club, this course they're playing at for the last 3 years. So the Scottish Open is a tournament that's been played for a very long time, but it's moved around quite a bit. In the last 3 years, it's been at the Renaissance Club. The Renaissance, it looks old, but it's not, right? It looks like it's been like a Mayfield or St. Andrews, but it's not. It still has that same aesthetic to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still links-ish, right? So you want to attack those guys that have experience with that type of game. And tee to green is always going to be the thing that I take a look at when it comes to that. And then just experience playing on the coastal, right? On the coastal side of any course, any links course. And that leads me to a few players here at the top, but I'll leave it to Jeff to kind of fill in the blanks here.
I mean, everything that Reed just said, it kind of makes sense why you were so high on Robert McIntyre this morning, Jeff. Like, This is his national open. He's a Scottish dude, and the last 2 years at Renaissance, he's gained nearly 8 shots on approach, and he's finished top 20 each time. And I think Reed, you also liked him.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
Jeff,
and look,
go ahead, dude.
I'm not going to pretend like I know the ins and outs of the Renaissance Club. I mean, I know that the basics of it. It's a links course. It's got some tighter driving holes. It's got firm and fast greens, assuming it doesn't like rain a ton during the week. And it's got your traditional like quirky green structures with some runoffs into bunkers and stuff like that. You're going to have to avoid. You get bad bounces. You're going to end up in weird spots. It's a cool course. It looks really great. It's easy if the conditions are down. Bernd Wiesberger shot 22 under here, and it's tough if the conditions are up. As we saw in 2019, there was one horrific round there, and the winners only got to 11 under. But the biggest thing for me is I want guys coming in who has played some links already. We saw last year, Min-Woo Lee came in, played the Irish Open the week before. What did he do? He won the week later on the Scottish links. I think that's a good corollary. We've seen it happen at the Open Championship before too. Like almost all of the past winners played the Scottish Open the week before because it just gets your game. You know the kind of shots you have to make. You can make adjustments. I think that the guys who played over in Ireland probably have a bit of an advantage this week. That leads me to McIntyre. That again, I think he's like my favorite bet on the board just for a long shot. And the other thing about this event is like, there's a ton of elite players. We get it. But like last year, the playoff was between Fitzpatrick, Min-Woo Lee, and oh my God, I'm blanking.
Dietrich, I think.
Thomas Dietrich. So we're not talking about like the 3 top 10 players in the world. I know Fitzpatrick is there now. He wasn't there last year. This is last year's Matthew Fitzpatrick. We had 3 young players who were like, I think Fitzpatrick may have been the only top 50 player in the world there at the time. Dietrich was playing well at the time, so maybe he was in there. But my point is, like, this is wide open for these guys. I mean, like, there are players down in the odds, like a Mito Pereira maybe could come in and grab this thing. So, that's the links. And again, I think that I want players who either have experience playing here. They're not going to be, kind of put off by just all of a sudden they've got to go on the links. Tommy Fleetwood also comes to mind, or they played last week. And I think McIntyre is one of those guys from last week, but there's other players who played last week too, that, you could certainly look to. I know Adrian Moronic that a lot of players were on the Euro Tour last week. He's in there at nice odds. I mean, there's a few others. So that's my biggest thing with looking at the course this week. If you ain't got like, good, if you don't have good links experience already or experience playing this course, if you played last week, I think that's a big plus.
Okay. So Min-Woo Lee, I believe was at 18 under when he did win last year. And I know weather can dictate a lot of kind of, as you mentioned, Jeff, like how like the scores and how these guys end up playing. Reed, is the weather, have you looked at the forecast? And I mean, are you considering that with some of your bets or even DFS or any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think that the wind's going to be up. So
Okay.
if you're stacking, you want to do a little bit of both. You want to do full AM, full PM, mix it up, hybrid, 3 AM, 3 PM.
Gotcha.
Right. You want to basically do that, right? Because if you're on, or you can have, you can be totally convicted to one T draw, right? And say, okay, and this has happened in like the majors. I right the last 3 majors, especially the first 2, is that the weather stacks and the Players Championship really played a difference.
Yes.
It really mattered, right? So that's how I'm doing it. But to what Jeff was saying, last year, I know Minwoo and I this is what I wrote in my preview article, is that I'm afraid to fade the top guys because of that narrative and just play the Euro guys. But at the same time, I'm also afraid to play the top guys because they're probably all looking to next week, right? That's the one factor that we're not that we don't know, is that how many of these guys, like what Morikawa did last year, right? He was saying he was fidgeting with his equipment last year, and there was something wrong when he was hitting the irons off the hard deck, changed it, and he wins the Open Championship in his debut, right? How many of those top guys are looking at this week being let's get the bugs out, let's clear the rust, let's clear the cobwebs, and let's hit the ground running? That's why you see that. But 3 of the top 10 who were ranked in the top 10 last year, right, and just in rankings, were also in the top 10. Justin Thomas, John Rahm, Xander Schauffele was there. So, right, Scotty Scheffler, he wasn't Scotty Scheffler now, but he was also there. So those guys can play well even when they're testing their stuff out. So this is an interesting tournament. Having said that, yes, there are guys deeper in odds that we want to attack.
Okay, Jeff, what about among the favorites? Because I look at a guy like John Rahm, who has plus 1,200 odds. I believe he's up there tops with Scheffler. Are there any of the heavy hitters that you like that you would consider betting? Because he was a guy who finished, I think, just 2 shots out of the playoff last year here. And we know how successful he's been in fields overseas, where he has, I think it's 7 European Tour victories.
Yeah, no, I mean, Rahm would probably be the guy. Like if you're going to bet one of the top 5 players, I would just bet Rahm. Yeah, like I said, you look at Reed's definitely onto something. I think you look at the top American players, they're more likely to just, this is like a testing week for them. Yeah. Whereas with Rahm, I mean, he's just played this type of course numerous times, played here last year. He's played tons of links. I don't think it's like necessarily a testing thing for him. I can't speak to what his camp is doing right now, obviously, but he's got more experience playing over this part of the country, this part of the world, excuse me, than most of the top American players. So of course, I think John Rahm is more likely to just hit the ground running here. So I think plus 1,200 for John Rahm is fine. I'm not going to be betting him at that number because it's a links course and it's just too much volatility. He played well last year, and like you saw, I mean, he still got beat by 3 players who were like outside the top 50. So, or at least 2. I would probably prefer to go down and look and just, try and get odds like plus 2,500 or bigger. I mean, I know Reed brought up Matsuyama, and I really don't mind that call at all. I think Matsuyama's game has progressed to the point where, he's shown some good links ability in the past. He was T6 in his Open debut. I wouldn't shock me at all if he showed up and had a really good week, played awesome at the US Open. And I think Jordan Spieth is another player who he's had some rest. He has over that stomach bug. He came over here early. I put him in the same category as John Rahm in terms of links, just ability to just come over here and just win a links event. This is Jordan Spieth's wheelhouse, man. He loves this kind of stuff. He's got all the shots. I think plus 3,000 for him. I said this at the start of the week. I think it's a bargain. You're going to put Cam Smith at plus 2,200 in an Open champion and Jordan Spieth at plus 3,000, who's never missed a cut at the Open. Like it's kind of weird, his number this week. I'm surprised more people aren't talking about it, to be honest, but maybe they're just all waiting for next week. I don't know. I think it's a good number on Jordan Spieth though this week.
Well, it's Reed. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead if you want to.
I was going to say, like, when you talk about that, right? I do a rankings article that comes out on today, and you take a look at, like, away from the odds, how many players would you rank above Jordan Spieth on a links course? Yeah. And if your answer is if your answer is only 4 or 5 guys, that's extreme value, because the 5th guy in odds and Xander Schauffele is plus 1,800. You're getting 1.5 times the value on Jordan Spieth when you do that, right? Like, that's the thing, right? Definitely over Cantlay, definitely over Burns. I love Zalatoris, but definitely over him, definitely over Xander. For Spieth on links, right? That's what you got to figure out.
And I just like, I've never really thought of Matsuyama as a links course specialist, but Reed, he's top 6 in strokes gained total and tee to green on links layout. So
Thank you
like,
very much.
dude,
Well,
dude is sharp, man.
And this is why I love Hideki in these fields, right? And Morikawa kind of gets this treatment, but not as much recently. But still, he's at plus 2,500. That's crazy. He won the Open Championship last year.
Yeah.
I would be completely fine starting my card with Morikawa and Matsuyama, just M&M, because what did Matsuyama do? What is he doing this year that's so much more improved? Right, he's one of the best guys short game. Like that, again, that's what we don't think about, right? We don't really realize with Matsuyama.
Yeah, short game is very underrated. Absolutely,
it's very underrated. And when you talk about slower greens, like he's better on like like a bent. I don't think he's the greatest, but slower greens, he has that pop stroke. I think that works a little bit better, and he always gets underestimated in this type of style game. Everyone plays him at Augusta. Everyone loves him, right, on sort of the WGCs. But, man, I think he's primed right now to have a solid week and really come into the next week being one of the top guys.
I mean, Hideki also ranks 8th in the field in strokes gained approach over the last 36 rounds. So that's pretty impressive. Let's talk. We got about like 7 minutes or so to go. What about some long shots here? There's some long shots, some guys that you think could make some people some money here, Jeff. Anyone you're going to have on your card?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, McIntyre plus 8,000. I mean, like that's a pretty nice long shot to begin with, but
he's probably going to be pretty chalky too in DFS.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he probably will be. I mean, I don't know. The start of the week, not that many people were talking about him. It's a bit of a deeper field. He might be, whatever. Even if he's 15, 20%, I'm going to play him. But you can go deeper in this field. I mean, a guy named Jordan Smith at plus 11,000 is a really solid young player. He played last week as well. He's got tons of experience playing in this part of the world. I mean, just like Min Woo Lee, like Jordan Smith is kind of a player who's just probably going to pop up and win like a fairly big event at some point in his career. So really wouldn't shock me if this is the week. I think Jordan Smith at plus 11,000 is good. Vic Perez, I keep forgetting what his number is at on DK, but 80, Victor Perez, actually down to plus 7,000. So people are betting Victor Perez, I guess, this week. I know I'm already betting him, but that's another player who's just talented, played a lot in this part of the world, has popped up with a lot of big wins on the Euro Tour. And I think somebody could, realistically get exposure to. In terms of win bets, would I go any deeper? I mean, I don't know. I mean, Thorbjorn Olsen at plus 25,000 is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Got really hot with the putter last week. He was top 10 at the Irish Open. He can just get red hot on the links too. So Olsen at plus 25,000. Olsen is also a player. I'll throw this out. You're going to want to get a piece of Thorbjorn Olsen next week, because I think I'm not even sure if he's in the field. I got to double check that. If he's in the field for the Open Championship, Thorbjorn Olsen is a player who at plus 2,000 or whatever he's going to be at, he's going to be live to win that event. I mean that non-sarcastically. Like he is absolutely capable of doing something crazy like that. But yeah, this week, I look down there. Actually, Justin Harding too, the Live Golf defector at plus 25,000 is also interesting for this week. He can get really hot with the putter too.
Reed, what's your best bet?
Thor is not in. Is not in the Open Championship. Yeah. So if he wins, do they get qualified if they win this week? I don't know if they do.
You have to finish top 3 qualifying position of the non-qualifiers, and you have to finish in the top 10 is what I've read.
That's right. Yep. One thing I forgot to mention about the Irish Open, 2 of the last 3 years, the runner-up to the Irish Open has gone on and won this tournament, right? So if that narrative and that trend stays true, Ryan Fox is winning this, but I'm not betting him. I think everybody's betting and playing Ryan Fox, which is fine. It's like he's like the Louis Oosthuizen of the European Tour. He's just runner-up. He's like playing fantastic. They're just not winning.
It sounds like guys that you two have been betting to win all season.
Jordan Smith, he's like the European Luke List, but I think a little bit better. Ball striking, fantastic. If you talk about tee to green in this last 50 rounds, and if you wait it out, he's number 1 on the European Tour in strokes gained tee to green. He just cannot putt. If you look at any putting stat on the Euro Tour, DP World Tour, he's like the best he is like 111th. So if he can finally putt, then he's going to play well. But deeper shots, there's one guy that I really like this week. Julian Young Kim, baby, at plus 35,000. You want to figure out who has played well, not just in general, but in like very like high strength of field tournaments and events. What did Tom Kim do at the US Open, gentlemen? A very solid, I believe it was a top 25.
Yeah, was he like yeah.
It was like a T21, I think. So Julian Young Kim at plus 35,000, maybe the derivative market, some heavy outright. I don't know about that. I'm still going to bet him outright just because if that hits, we're going to Disneyland. And that's something that you have to take a look at. And then there's one more. I got scribbles everywhere. Aaron Rai. He's not a super long shot, obviously. He's, I think, at 7,500. So he's in that range with Victor Perez, Mito Pereira, these guys, Minwoo Lee. He's playing well, man. He came in second place the year he won at the Irish Open. Then he comes in that difficult round, right? In that difficult event. And then he wins it. I feel like he's playing better than he was back then. And he's done well on the PGA Tour. That's what I want. I want guys who have played well in Europe on these link style courses who are playing in very strong fields. And that's what Aaron Rai has done at plus 7,500. He's probably one of my favorite bets this week.
Beautiful, baby. Beautiful. Jeff, what was your favorite bet, your best bet this week?
My best bet? I mean, I still think it's Robert McIntyre, but
okay.
As far as like, I wish do we have,
are there any like props, any head-to-head matchups, anything like that you like?
That's what I was just looking for if we had the top 40 market, but we don't. Let's look at the matchups. I mean, the other thing is like we have another golf tournament, the Barbasol going.
Oh yes, that is true. Don't forget, guys.
That's the Augusta. Barbasol is the Augusta of Kentucky.
Well, let's go over to the Barbasol.
Oh, okay. We want to go a little
I'm betting people. I'm betting the Barbasol.
Shaving cream action. Will shaving cream open?
Yeah.
There's your boy John Huff from last week. You were pushing him.
So Kelly Craft at plus 5,000 and Lee Hodges at plus 4,500.
Yeah.
Two guys I'm definitely on, and Ryan Moore at plus 6,000.
Okay.
Reed, anything you'd like to add about
the Shaving Cream Open?
The Augusta of Kentucky?
Yeah, Austin Cook plus 5,000. These are the guys.
I like that one too. I like Austin Cook. Yeah.
Don't like betting the guys like below, like above 3,500. Like Adam Svensson, get out of here.
Yeah,
like I need to get off Adam Svensson and Chris Gotterup. I love the guy. He's a great player, but plus 1,800 to be the favorite in this tournament. Give me a break.
I'd probably consider Gotterup because plus 2,500, but
yeah, but not at plus 1,800.
No.
Give me a break. My favorite bet in the Barbasol is Austin Cook.
All right, guys.
Double golf tournament this weekend. It's a good week.
Double barrel. You're going to be up. Are you going to get up, Jeff? You're going to stay.
No,
it's perfect for me I get up a tiny bit early and then you get to like the last 9 holes. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Also, I saw DK Sportsbook just tweeted out that a bettor has put down 10 grand on Baker Mayfield to win the NFL Comeback Player of the Year at plus 1,600 odds. So the potential payout there, $170,000.
That's actually not bad. I mean,
he's coming back from. He played last year.
I think he was a little banged up.
Yeah, I don't. That's actually a good point. That's something we can talk about later. Like, I don't understand this. Like sometimes.
No, the Comeback Player of the Year award is. There's a couple players in there who it's like, what? Why are you even in there? Like,
yeah.
Baker is actually
even better then because he wasn't injured. He wasn't completely injured. I mean, he had like 14 ailments.
He's basically just coming back from being terrible.
So
10
G's is a lot of leverage. That's a ton.
He's coming back from getting dissed by Odell Beckham's dad. What a comeback.
Plus 1,600. Yeah. I mean, we've made like dumber bets.
It's not a terrible odds. No, I agree with that. He's going to get beat up by Sam Darnold, though, and the bet's going to be dead by week 1. So
last thing.
Then DJ Moore's dad's going to tweet out of
highlight reel. Last thing on this, because then we can close it up.
Say it.
How many wins does Baker in Carolina need to get for him to win this award? Above 500?
I was going to say 9.
Okay.
9.
They're look at their.
They got to be in the playoff hunts. They got to be in the playoff hunt.
if Chris
That's right.
McCaffrey has a star, like, and this defense, like JC Horn can show up and like be worth his salt and draft. I mean, again, injuries, there's a lot of things that can happen. I'm not saying that bet's a smart, like it's going to win, but there've been dumber bets.
Yeah. We have to look at the whole board and see what else is on there.
Right.
Which we don't have time to do right now. So.
Yep. And AC on the 1s and 2s tells me we got the Browns and 49ers coming up next. A little Madden Sims. You can get your Baker fix in there. All right, everybody. Enjoy it while it lasts. A little Baker in the Cleveland Browns uniform. Good show, guys. That was fun. Thanks for the help. AC, thank you. Producer Eamon, thank you. Thanks, everyone, for putting up with us. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock Eastern time for Das Sweat. We'll see you then.
Thursday, peeps.